Hello, my name is Tiffany C. Wright, and today I'm here to talk to you about how to manage cash flow. This is business cash flow, not your personal cash flow, but business cash flow. We'll discuss in this presentation what is cash flow and how do you manage cash flow. Included are some explanations and examples. So what is cash flow? Cash flow is incoming cash minus outgoing cash. Or put another way, it's cash receipts minus cash payments. What is cash? Cash is actual literal cash. Cash, money order, cashier's checks, and checks. It's money in your savings account, checking account, money market account. It is not accounts receivables or invoices. It is not other current assets such as prepaid expenses or inventory. So what is cash flow management? Cash flow management simply is analyzing and ensuring that your cash inflows surpass your cash outflows at any given time. This is the essential essence of cash flow management. In more detail, cash flow management is the process of tracking, analyzing, and adjusting your company's cash flows. Cash flow is not income. You can have high income or high net income, but negative cash flow. So first you analyze your cash flows, then you devise and implement cash management strategies. To illustrate this and make it more simple to understand, let me provide you with an example. Let's assume you enter into a $200,000 contract to provide marketing services over a period of 6 months. Your revenue the previous year was $1 million. So this contract provides 20% of the previous year's revenue. According to the contract, you submit invoices once per month on the 30th. This is fairly standard in corporate contracts. And the corporate customer has 30 days to pay you. So your firm starts fulfilling the contract on February 1st. Fortunately, with non-retail or wholesale service businesses, so for service businesses that are not in retail, not in wholesale services, not in construction or other material heavy business lines, there's typically minimal costs incurred before the contract commences. The major cost is personnel costs and overhead allocation, although travel and related expenses may also accrue. However, once you start fulfilling the contract, you incur employee costs that will not be paid for 30 to 60 days. In this example, we're assuming that you'll make a gross profit of 60% and an operating profit of 30%, and that the bulk of your costs will be personnel costs and some overhead allocation, so rent and other expenses that you use to service the contract. So this brings me to our example. At the end of week 2, or day 15, we have accrued revenue of $16,667. We have operating income of $5,000. However, because we have paid out cash to personnel and to cover some of our overhead costs, we have a negative cash flow of $6,667. So we have revenue of over $16,000, but because we have not yet received that revenue, we have negative cash flow of almost $7,000. And it just worsens. At the end of week 4 on this contract, we have accrued revenue of $33,333, and we have operating income of $10,000. Now at the end of day 30, we send out our invoices, which then creates accounts receivables. But remember, the company has 30 days, our client, the company, has 30 days to pay this. So we now have a negative cash flow of $13,333. Again, still paying our personnel and covering some of our overhead costs. At the end of week 6, day 45, it just continues to worsen. Now at the end of week 8, approximately, which is day 60, we have accrued a revenue of $66,666. And we have operating income of $20,000. We did finally get a check from our customer for $33,333, so that brings our negative cash flow into the positive range, and that gives us $6,667 in positive cash flow. But we had to wait almost 8 weeks. We had to wait 8 weeks, not almost. We had to wait 8 weeks to get a positive cash flow. So we've been running 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I forgot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 weeks with a negative cash flow from this contract. That's not good. So what are some of the improvements that we can make to cash flow? The biggest improvement that you can make to cash flow is to shorten the invoicing and accounts receivable period. Since if you can convert your accounts receivable to cash faster, you can significantly improve your cash flow, and hence have good cash flow management. So some of the ways to do this are to offer early payment discounts to encourage companies to pay early, structure contracts to say payment upon receipt of invoice or net 15, so that they pay in 15 days or less instead of 30 days, invoice on the 15th and the 30th to better match the timing of cash inflows with cash outflows, or you can invoice in advance of delivery of the services, and that will also shorten the payment period. Or aside from that, you can obtain a deposit for services rendered or a partial payment in advance. So let's say on this $200,000 contract you ask for 5% or $10,000 in advance. That would be a way to mitigate some of your cash flow issues and put you more into the positive. Back to our example. So we decide that we're going to request a $10,000 deposit from our customer. So that deposit will not be refunded to the customer until the end of the contract. Or rather, what will happen is with our very last, we will offset the deposit against our last invoice sent out to the customer. So that cash flow will stay with us throughout the life of the contract. We will also invoice the customer twice per month, on the 15th and the 30th instead of just on the 30th. The customer will still have 30 days to pay, but now we're invoicing twice a month. So with those two changes, we really do improve our cash flow situation. If you look at the end of week 2 or day 15, we now have a positive cash flow of $3,333. Same expenditures, but now a positive cash flow. At the end of day 30, when we invoice the customer, and again, remember we invoice the customer at the end of day 15 now, and we also invoice the customer again at the end of day 30, creating accounts receivables anytime you invoice. We have a negative cash flow of minus $3,333, but this is only for a week. So we are cash flow negative for just about a week. Then at the end of week 6, or day 45, we receive our first payment from the customer, and that payment is for $16,667. That brings us to a cash flow of positive $6,667. At the end of week 8, we get another check for $16,667, and that brings us to a cash flow of the same amount. Again, end of day 60. So you can see how changing the dates from the 30th only to the 15th and the 30th drastically improves our cash flow, as does accepting or demanding a deposit from the customer drastically improves our cash flow. If we wanted to make sure this contract never went negative, we would ask the customer for a $15,000 deposit or a $20,000 deposit. And that would be, instead of 5%, it would be a 10% deposit on the $20,000 contract, which would be reasonable. We have all heard of companies who went bankrupt, went on a fast growth trajectory. This is why. They book revenue at rates multiples higher than the previous year, but they don't have positive operational cash flow. And they don't have the backup financing to cover the gap in operational cash flow. This unplanned cash flow shortage is one of the primary reasons companies go out of business. If you do not have overlapping jobs with payments coming in that can cover the cash flow shortage, your business is hurting. You must engage in budget planning and analysis before each and every project in order to plan your cash needs accordingly. To get started and learn more about managing your cash flow and using that cash flow to run your business, you can check out Solving the Capital Equation, which is a book I wrote a few years ago. Financing the Solutions for Small Businesses. It's available on Amazon. If you want instant gratification, you can download the ebook, and you'll also get access to my to email consulting services through this. And the ebook is called Help, I Need Money for My Business Now. The website is www.smallbusinessfinancingresource.com. Thank you very much for joining us. You can follow my blog on small business financing and other small business management issues at blog.smallbusinessgrowthcapital.com. If you wish to email me or contact me directly, you can contact me at twright, that's TWRIGHT, at tokafamilyservices.com. Again, twright at tokafamilyservices.com. If you want more information on my bio, it's available on the blog. Thank you very much. Have a great day.